Hello, hello, hello. What's good, everybody? Glad to see everybody back on a fine Tuesday night. Had to come on back. It's Tuesday, so we're here and about to talk some Thrones. And look at that. I already have it muted on the other side, so won't even get the feedback. I think that's time number 3. What's good tonight, Snafu?
What's up? I'm just sitting here healing. I figured I'd start off where y'all can see me, and because I'm a good right now, but I'm gonna turn off my phone so you don't see how pathetic I am, laid up in bed, all hurt, mourning myself like Jamie Lannister after losing his hand, you know. But I'm looking forward to this chat we're gonna have. I already brought up some of the stuff that I wanted to talk about in the stream. And like always, we're kind of on the same page with a couple things. So I'm looking forward to it, to answering your questions that are way more detailed than I have any right to answer. But looking forward to it.
Oh, man, always glad to be on here talking some Thrones, especially with the minds that can see out and on the outside of the box. What's good, one, you, David Adams? We got JD the Dragon living my Rhapsody. Thanks for being here. Got T-Baby. It's been so long. So good to see you out there. We know we're going to hear some Jamie love because we all know how much T-Baby just loves some Jamie Lannister. Oh, yeah, glad to see everybody out there. So we have Chrissia, Old Stones. What's good, love? Good to see you in there. Thanks for being here. Thanks for being here. So, Catherine Harding, welcome. Starting out early, getting in early on the chat. Thanks for being here, everybody. We are definitely going to be busting it out. Oh, snap. Bubba Husky. Good to see you at the chat. What's up, buddy? Glad everybody made it. Glad everybody's so excited. We are getting closer and closer. We are in the teens now. I mean... I'm sad, but you're just totally excited. I mean, how pumped are you for season 8 to get here, Andy? Are you like, is it more of a sad thing because you don't want it to end, or are you just pumped and want to see it now?
I am a kind of race to the finish kind of guy, so I'm pretty stoked for it to end, honestly. Because it's always tough for me rewatching a show when it hasn't finished, because I want that full perspective of how things are going to end, what I missed. So I'm kind of happy that it's ending so that I can go back and watch it with a new perspective. Because currently, like how we watch it, yeah, you might catch a thing here or there, but really, like, you don't have the full story. So you kind of can't beat yourself up about what you missed. You're like, dang, I missed that, or I predicted that. So, I'm kind of looking forward to it for that reason specifically.
How about it, chat? What's the general consensus out there? Are you guys sad that it's ending? You guys just super excited and wanted to get here now and see what's going on? What's good, Slide the Tank Benjamin? I saw a Game of Theories with Marie. Welcome, welcome. So glad you guys can make it through. But yeah, I don't know. I'm a little bit on the opposite side. Like, I'm that kid that could always wait for Christmas because I knew once it was here, it'd be over and it'd be sad. Like, so I don't mind waiting for it, but of course you want to see it. Of course you want to know how they're going to end it. And it's going to be so much different than the book. So you still got that to be excited about. I'm like, it'll be cool. It'll be tight.
From that perspective, man, we're so different. I don't even know how we get along. I would wake up on Christmas morning at like 2 o'clock in the morning before everybody woke up, and I would open all my presents and then wrap them back up so that I could open them again in the morning.
Oh, that even made the giant tamer laugh out loud. You kidding me?
That's awesome. I'm freaking master of wrapping presents now. I wrap everything. And she's like, how do you wrap so good? I'm like, because I peeked at everything, like, all through when I was a kid. I would get up, razor blades, whatever I got to do.
Whatever it takes.
Now my mom, she wraps everything in duct tape when she gives it to me. So...
Oh, that is just classic. That's good stuff. Yeah, I've given my dad a couple of those duct tape and wrap it and duct tape and wrap it and duct tape and wrap it like 30 times. Oh, man, he laughed like a little kid. It was awesome. What's up, Fandom D Saint? Glad to see you finally made the chat. Good to see you here. I know you're always busy, so it's always nice to see you up in the chat. But, yeah, man, season 8's coming. We got some stuff going. I'm actually just kind of starting my rewatch. And I'm about on season 1, episode 8, I guess. No, actually 9. I just started 9. So kind of making my way back through, and I'm going to try to get done right when the season starts, so I'm right on time. But, man, it is so fun when you go back and look through the seasons, like all the stuff that you saw but you didn't really see. I mean, there's just so many hints. And I mean, one of the biggest things is one of the things you were just talking about was about Tywin. And was Tywin already going to be moving against the throne? And that's one of the things I noticed because, I mean, basically, when we first see Tywin, Robert is basically dead or about to be dead, and you see Tywin gutting a stag. I mean, is that not just the biggest symbology that basically Tywin was going to go there anyway, whether the boar got him or not? And, well, what do you think about that?
Yeah, I think the symbolism there, it definitely was like showing what was going to happen. But more than that, the conversation that was happening, like, I'm surprised that I didn't immediately notice this when I first watched it the very first time, because you don't know when this conversation's happening. You don't even know that Robert's gonna die yet. Like, this, nothing's even happened to Robert at this point when this conversation's going on, and they're talking about taking 30,000 soldiers and going attacking River Run, and then uh, uh, Ned is like, "Hey, you need to get back to King's Landing in 30 days, or you're gonna be an enemy of the crown." And Tywin's like, "I don't care." Like, essentially, he doesn't exactly say that, but he doesn't show any concern to that, and he even tells Jaime, like, what happens in the next few days is basically gonna set up our dynasty for 1,000 years. So all that tells me specifically he planned to move against the throne before Robert was even dead. So that just, either he had planned it with Cersei, or they just happened to be at the same time, have the same idea. So maybe she is a lot like Tywin.
Yeah, maybe more of the show than we thought. What's up, Big PDs? Good to see you up there in the chat. Glad you made it, brother. Glad you made it. So, I mean, basically, even before that, we know he was thinking about it. But was Robert's death a murder? Was that an accident? Or, I mean, that was a murder, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I think so. I mean, it's kind of a lucky murder, because even when I think about it now, I'm like, yeah, but could you predict that he wouldn't just like pass out and fall asleep and not catch anything, rather than like he happens to be super hammered when the big ass boar comes after him? Like, so it was kind of a lucky murder, but it was definitely intended for that to happen. So that's why you got to call it a murder, but it's lucky that it happened.
Yeah, it is. Hello, the Lady Olaney Tyrell. Welcome, welcome. Glad you made the chat. If it is murder, which it does seem to be, lucky or not, who orchestrated it?
That was Cersei, right? Doesn't it say that specifically later? Or maybe I'm just putting that. Like, she, in a conversation, she says, like, she just made sure that he had his favorite wine and the boar did the rest. Something like that, right?
But I mean, that's, like you said, I mean, that's pretty lucky. I mean, is that really the way she, and if that is the case, was it just her plan, or is that what Tywin had instructed her to do?
Yeah, and that's what I was kind of saying. Like, it seems weird that he would talk about a dynasty for 1,000 years before any of this happened. So I think he might have had something to do with it. Like, he had to have. Like, that. I don't know. That conversation just tells me that he had to have something to do with it yet, because nothing had happened yet. And there's no way he could plan to move against River Run, because Robert had already told Ned to get Tyrion back, like, stop the fucking madness and get Tyrion back, right?
Well, so go ahead.
So there's no reason that the Tywin would actually need to do that.
Right, but Tywin was obviously plotting this long before he went in there. When Ned first went into Robert's thing, when he wanted to be in the melee, Robert said right then, is like, another Lannister, and is like, yeah, Cersei made me take him. Now, what would Cersei care? I mean, that wasn't Cersei. That was obviously Tywin planning that Lannister there for a future, whatever he needed getting done, like, I guess, getting him drunk to get got by a boar. Like, I think this was way back. This was in the plan way back then.
Yeah, and I wonder if there was something else planned. Like, so while he does get killed by the boar, I don't know if that was the initial intent. Like, because you have what's his name? That was the commander of the Kingsguard.
Burstyn.
Well, the other one, the one that turned against Ned in the throne room. What's his name?
Oh, Boris.
He goes to the wall.
Slynt.
Yeah, Janos Slynt.
Janos Slynt. I mean, yeah.
He with them? Because like that's somebody that would kill Robert probably if Cersei told you to.
No, I think he was 100% just under Littlefinger. I think Littlefinger was going to Ned, and he kept trying to tell Ned what to do all the way up into the end. And then when Ned finally just said, no, it's Stannis and that's that, Littlefinger was like, well, I tried. And I don't think Slynt knew which way he was going right up until that moment. I think Littlefinger went and was like, well, he's being ridiculous and unreasonable, so I got to go with Cersei. Because Littlefinger knows how nuts Cersei is.
Yeah, Littlefinger's got to look out for himself, too, because Stannis isn't going to put up with Littlefinger.
Exactly.
So that's a smart move on his part. Plus, this episode that we're talking about, it has like one of Littlefinger's greatest scenes, like that.
It's just an all-around great episode. That's why I told you to rewatch it, because I knew a lot of tonight's going to be about it. But which one are you talking about?
The one where he's he's talking about teaching the girls how to be a whore, like how to fool them into, trick a man into forgetting what he knows. And really, that's his whole specialty. He's not really talking about like whoring. He's talking about himself, like gaining power. And that's what everything's about.
Oh, absolutely.
And that's a great scene telling you all about what he is about and that you shouldn't trust him.
Absolutely. What's up, everybody that's watching later? And in the panel now, we got one of the legends himself, the one and only. You might know him as Fandom D Saint. We know him as BBM. What's good, my man David? Welcome to the panel.
Hey, what's up, DJ, Andy, Manakama, everyone in the live chat. Yo, what is good? What is
Can
good?
you guys hear him?
Peter Baelish? You can't even hear me? That's just wrong. That's just wrong. I really can't? Oh, that's just OD wrong.
I can
Let me
hear
see if I can change my settings. Wait, you say you can hear me?
You can hear BBM?
Yeah.
Trolling Andy.
Oh, no. Just happened again. But you can obviously still hear me, Andy?
Yep. I'm
sorry if I'm talking over you, BBM. I can't hear you at all.
Wow.
Yeah, I can't hear you at all. What's up, chat? Can you hear BBM?
There's some Lannister bias here. That's just OD wrong.
All right, you guys can hear him. I guess I'm going to have to hear you through the chat, unless you can bounce out and come back in, and that works. But yeah, it sounds like everybody can hear you but me. And that's exactly what happened to the last stream. Andy came in, and other people could hear him, but I couldn't hear him. So I don't know what the hell is going on with YouTube, but this is a first for me.
You hear me now?
And I hear you, DJ, but DJ can't. Yeah, that's great. So, I mean, if you guys can all hear, what's up, BBM?
You still can't hear me, DJ? Wow, that is so strange. If people can't hear me. At least he can't. I don't know.
All right. Well, it's going to be interesting. I'm going to go with the lip reading. We're going to make this happen because everybody else can hear you. Everybody can hear you but me. So, yeah, basically, I guess I'll just hear what you have to say on the replay when I rewatch it. But I'm just going to be a lip reader on that one. How weird. That's so crazy.
I can translate for you.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh,
yeah,
no.
Exactly. There you go.
Don't you worry about it. I'll tell you exactly what he said.
Yeah. No, it'll feedback. I don't want to do that. I could put my phone on for that fact, but yeah, I don't want to do that. Oh, anyway, BBM, I didn't mean to cut you off. Welcome to the panel. So glad you're here. We will definitely be, we're going to make this work one way or the other. But let the people know, BBM, do you believe that Robert's death was a murder? And if so, was it Cersei or Tywin or somebody else that orchestrated that one?
Yeah, you got to repeat that again. You became robotic for me. You said something about Robert's death was a murder.
He said, do you believe that Robert's death was a murder? Or something else?
Yeah, it was planned. It was all planned from the get-go. They're planning to kill him. Well, it seems like it was pretty much Cersei who planned it.
All right, so BBM said it's a murder, but Cersei's way too dumb to have planned it.
Wow.
Oh, I know for a fact he didn't say that. That's awesome. Yeah, that's clown. That is too great.
He thinks Cersei planned it.
Oh, what a trip. What a trip. Well, righto. So we talked about Tywin skinning the stag. BBM, do you believe that Tywin was already plotting against the crown well before Robert's death?
It could be possible that he was plotting against it, but I just found it as a coincidence that he was just just gutting a stag like right after, like you said. I'm not sure, I can't remember like which episode, but you're saying it was like during the process of him dying, so it just seems like it was just a coincidence.
No, it's before he died. Right before. Okay, so it's actually the scene after Robert leaves. Ned goes. He says that Tywin needs to come back. Oh no, that was the last episode, right? He says Tywin needs to come and come back to the King's Landing to pay for the crimes of Gregor Clegane, and then in the scene before Robert dies, it like gets cut by the boar. You see that's the Tywin cutting the stag. It's like cutting it up, and they're talking about usurping the throne. They're not really talking about usurping the throne. He's talking about going to get Tyrion back, and not only going to get Tyrion back, but taking 30,000 soldiers to Riverrun. So, which is more than what would be necessary, right? So that's why we're saying that there was probably that it was probably pre-planned.
And BBM, we can do this. I have to click on you when you're talking so the people can see you, because my mic's not picking you up, which is when your camera would kick on. But whenever you're done answering a question, just do me a favor and give me the peace sign up in the camera, and then I'll know that's when I can start talking again. So yeah, just give me one of those and we're going to make this work. Watch this. So what do you guys think about the phrase? When you're stuck in the position of the phrase, when that goes down, do you stay loyal to your liege lord? I mean, we know, the late lord or whatever, but are you supposed to stay loyal to your liege lord like the Starks? Or do you stay loyal to who is running the kingdom and stay loyal to your king? What are you supposed to do in that situation, Andy?
For me, I'm probably staying loyal to my liege, depending, like if my liege lords are like, let's say I'm a knight of one of the Freys, I'm probably not going to stick with them. But I think the Starks have like earned that honor from people. So, that trust from their men. So they'll do that. But it's kind of one of those situations where it gets brought up in the late seasons, right? Where Jaime's they're talking to Randall Tarley, where he's like, I serve. He says he serves the Tyrells, and they're like, well, he served the queen. The Tyrells served the king, and they went against them or whatever. So now you don't have to do what you're supposed to do, essentially. So I think it's just a morality question, and I think most people are going to stick with their liege because that's the person that's closest to them.
Yeah, that may be who's closest to them, but the king is the one who can take away your lands and castles for not being loyal to him. I mean, look at all the people that stuck by the Targaryens. Those are all the Blackfires. Those are all the Golden Company, and those are all people that lost their lands and titles because they followed the wrong king and they got their stuff taken. So, I mean, you can actually lose quite a bit by going against your king and following your liege lord.
Yeah, but I'm just saying by nature, like, that's what people are going to do. These people are your friends. Like, these are your family. They treat you well. And whereas the king is just the king. Like, you're going to stick with the people that you trust. And you trust the people that are closer to you.
Right. Remember, give me the peace sign, BBM. But what do you think about all that? Who do you follow? Do you follow the Starks, your liege lord, or do you follow the royalty in the kingdom?
For me, I follow the kingdom. So when all is said and done, I begin to plot revenge. That's what I would do.
He said he follows the king and kingdom. It's so that when it's all said and done, he can plot revenge. So really, his loyalties lie with his liege, but he's gonna fake going with the kingdom. So see, even he is saying essentially like he puts his trust more in his liege lords.
So basically he's just plotting BBM and he's gonna pull a little finger on everybody.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. I like it. So what do you think of BBM? Did Maester Luwin send a raven to the Citadel about the White Walkers? Because when he asked Osha why she came there, she said there were things that hunt in the night. And he replied, owls and shadow cats? And she's like, no, I'm not talking about owls and shadow cats, old man. He knew exactly what she was talking about at that point. And he said, what you're talking about have been dead thousands of years. And Osha was like, no, they wasn't dead. They was sleeping. So at that point, I mean, does he ever believe Osha? And even believe it or not, does he send a raven to the Citadel about what he heard, BBM?
Even if he did believe her, I don't think he would just send a raven to the Citadel, because last time I checked, like the Maesters are just believing that superstitious. They just believe it's just like old tales. So at this point, it's like, why even bother?
I agree with BBM. Like,
what do you think about that, Andy?
that even if he believed it, he wouldn't send a thing. He wouldn't send a raven because he would know that the maesters aren't likely to believe him. They would probably make fun of him, like he spent too much time in the north and now he's believing in grumpkins and snarks and shit. So, um, and there's also that like kind of in. I don't know if you've seen those tests where like people sit in an office and then they'll play a beeping noise over the speaker, and then one person will stand up. And even though no one's told the people to stand up, the other test subjects, that they'll stand up too because they think that they're doing something wrong, and it's like a kind of peer pressure. So I don't think like naturally knowing that they wouldn't believe him and they would ridicule him, I don't think he would send it off because he wouldn't want to be thought of as crazy.
The same thing about when
Yeah,
I'm not sure
but
if it was.
first of all, I think the
I can't remember.
Maesters have a Maester conspiracy. I think they have a big conspiracy going on. So I think there's a big master plot going on. And I think, true or false, after Ned Stark has to behead one of the head rangers, basically from the Night's Watch. I mean, Benjen said he was a great ranger. And he ends up beheading him because he saw White Walkers. And then you have wildlings coming in, fleeing the north because they're claiming they're running from White Walkers. I mean, some stuff starting to back up. I mean, it's not going to be crazy. He might want to start thinking, just in case, maybe I better get this information out. What do you think about that, BBM?
It's possible, but as I said before, it's like just like that comment when Kyber and Jane were talking about Ghost, and it's like when Kyber said like, "Oh, I kind of like believe in Ghost." There, I think like what one other Maester kind of believed it, but everyone else just kept denouncing it.
That's legit. He was talking about how Kyburn believed in ghosts, but none of the other maesters did. So it's kind of that same situation where it's possible that he sent something, but if you know that no, they're not going to believe you. Let's say there is a maester conspiracy, right? Well, then he would know that they're not going to even send that information on. Like that's not even going to do anything. They're just going to bury that information because they don't want it out there. Or most of the maesters, even if there is a maester conspiracy, it's probably only the top maesters, right? Because the top maesters would just pass on that information. So it's kind of an indoctrination thing. All the new maesters would be taught that this stuff isn't real. So it wouldn't even be a conspiracy with them. It would just be they would think everybody that believed that stuff is crazy or gullible.
So yeah, I mean that's basically you just answered my next question. So basically, is the Citadel going to play any part in the end game or against the White Walkers? It sounds like you don't believe that, Andy.
No, I don't think so. I don't think, like I said, the new maesters wouldn't have the information. The older maesters are trying to cover it up, whether they think that will hinder the ability of magic or whatever their reason is, or if it's just to give themselves power. I think by weakening the entire system by not giving the younger maesters that education that I don't even know if a lot of them have that ability. Like the book that Sam took, right, was locked up in this fucking thing that only a few maesters could get into, right? So clearly they're hiding that information.
Forbidden
Well,
section.
they're obviously hiding all. I mean, they're divvying out information as they see fit to have things go the way that they want to go. And the Citadel's been standing for thousands of years. So, I mean, there has to be books and knowledge and things that they know about that nobody else knows about. And being on that special black rock that it's built on and as high as it's built, and I just think there has to be something that they know what to do when the White Walkers come, or that is like a last solemn place of refuge. Like, I just think that they are going to be the answer. In the end, they're going to be the ones who actually come back and save the world from it, or at least have a big part of it. What do you think about all that, BBM?
Oh, for me, on the show wise, just like Marie in the live chat was saying as well, it's like not enough time to even like cover like another, Citadel plot at this point, unless like near the end you're gonna see like Sam taking over the Citadel. But even then, it's like maybe not. But book wise, they could have done something with it. And I was like watching Drakes and Know Things podcast, and they were talking about like it could be possible that since we have a library with the Citadel, it could possibly burn down. So one thing the show could do is like burn down the Citadel, if anything. Other than that, not really.
Oh, that is definitely happening in the book. I think I would bet money that the Citadel gets burned down in the book, because they take a lot of stuff from history, and the Library of Alexandria is, that's most of the information about the world prior to that was lost because the Library of Alexandria was burned down. So yeah, I think that would make sense.
Absolutely. And Game of Theories with Marie brings up a good point. The Citadel didn't even know that Jor was dead yet. So that's a great point. I mean, they're not as informed as you think they'd be. But also in the book, I mean, the way that when Rob's battling down there against Jane and her parents and all whatever, and basically the battle's over, and then all of a sudden there's this late random arrow that hits Robb Stark and puts him down, and then he needs to be brought in and nursed back to health, and that's when he falls in love with Jane, and that's, that all comes. That was plotted and planned. I mean, it was basically over, and then I don't know. That was a little too perfect, and that seems more like, along with this, Maesters have more of a grandmaster plan with Starks and want certain things to go a certain way. Now, maybe it's just for the realm, and they wanted, to have more influence if Robb ended up winning the throne, and they were taking that angle. But it seemed like those Spicers had more of a, I don't know, it seemed like they had a bigger plan. What do you think about that, Andy?
That made me, that is a big coincidence, but I don't know. I can't say, honestly. That's one of the ones I don't remember well enough. I don't have enough information in that situation to even comment on it, honestly. But based on what you said, I don't remember exactly, but that makes perfect sense.
Base says the Maesters in the show have zero impact on the overall world compared to the book counterpart, where the Maesters have information, dragons, and magic. Very, very true. And yeah. Absolutely.
And that is a big part of the book too. Like, even when what's his name's dying, he talks about like the Sphinx is the riddle and not like the Riddler, or whatever he says. Something like that, basically. And then there's the Sphinx at the Citadel, which is, not a secret Targaryen, but a secret Sand Snake.
Right.
And so I think it's going to play a really big part in the book, but in the show, I don't know. I don't think it's going to play that big of a part outside of what Sam found there.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely looking that way, like it's not going to do much, but who knows? BBM, was Benjen's horse warged by Bloodraven when it came back without Benjen? I mean, Benjen left with an entire ranging party, and yet somehow this horse is the only thing that made it back alive. Was that horse warged by Bloodraven, or was it just luck coincidence that he made it back?
I just think it was just by nature that the horse just returned back to, like, the wall at that point. It could have been warged too, but if it was like warged, like, should have did like more than just like send a horse, if anything.
What do you think about that, Andy?
It could be like BBM said, and be that it just came back by nature because horses are pretty smart like that. But yeah, I was thinking about that during the episode too. Like, is it just Bloodraven trying to warn them? Like, this is a real thing, and you guys need to like take it seriously, right? Because the same thing, I was thinking that as well. Because the second time in that episode, not to get in too big of a tangent, was that Ghost bringing back that hand, which that's really important to like the episode after that, right? Or is it 2 episodes after? Whenever, that leads them to find the Night's Watch dudes, the Rangers, and then the Whites and shit. So it seems like Bloodraven had a part in that because those two things like connect to each other. If Benjen hadn't, like, they didn't find Benjen's horse, they're less likely to go out and see where Ghost got that hand from, right? They might still go do it, but now they're definitely going to do it because he brought a hand to John, who just saw his uncle's horse, right? So, and that's what warns them about the White Walkers and shit, and the Whites is a white in Castle Black.
And I mean, that's not what warned them. They were well aware of it. I mean, Benjen came back and talked to Ned when Ned was talking about him beheading him. And he's like, yeah, he was a good man. And he's like, Benjen was already saying, I've been hearing reports past and beyond the wall. And he's like, what kind of reports? And he's like, the kind I don't want to believe. So, I mean, there was already White Walker action way back before that, before the story even started. So, I mean, it was already up and going.
Yeah, but that's Benjen, who is a ranger. Right, because after this situation, they go north of the wall. Right, this is like the scenario that has them going north of the wall. Right, like this coupled with Mance Rayder, Whites and Mance Rayder is what leads them north of the wall. I believe. I could be wrong, obviously, but I think this situation, like the Whites, is a big catalyst to it. And even if you want to, even if not that, maybe. I mean, that's definitely the reason that Jon Snow gets Longclaw is from saving Jor. So if we believe Longclaw is important, that's another reason, like another way of explaining it, I guess.
Yeah.
My damn rambling.
No, Base 2.0 says Bloodraven had control over Ghost more since in the show, and book Ghost has been key to push the other storyline, and in book it seems Ghost is the only thing keeping John at the wall. I don't know about the only thing, but he is definitely a major influence there. Absolutely. Absolutely. What do you think about it? What do you think about it, bro? What is Benjen even doing at the wall? How much did he know? Like, did he know John's parents? Is that the reason he's there? Like, what is the reason Benjen's even there? And how much do you think he really knows?
Wasn't he at the wall like before the whole before his like pops died in beginning?
He said, wasn't he at the wall before his dad died and before all that stuff happened?
I don't know if that was ever said. Not that I know of. I'm not sure when he got sent to the wall. I don't know if they ever gave us that information. What's up, chat? Does anybody remember ever hearing about when the exact time Benjen went to the wall? I mean, he's obviously been there for a while. He's worked his way up to First Ranger.
Because that's pretty important. I mean, you would think that.
But also, there's so many just like Robert's cut purses and rapists that he's gonna advance quick because he's there from a noble family.
Yeah, but why wouldn't he be if he wasn't at the wall at this point? Why wouldn't he be at the Tower of Joy with Ned? Right?
Why would
he not be at the Tower of Joy with Ned? If that happens,
because there must always be a Stark in Winterfell.
So he just stayed behind and didn't go to war because of that.
There must always be a Stark in Winterfell, absolutely.
Yeah, but there's not a Stark at Winterfell all the time. In our story,
you saw what happened. It burned to the ground and we got crazy and madness going on. What do you think, BBM? Why do you think? How come he wasn't at the Tower of Joy? Was it because he was at the Wall, or because he was a Stark in Winterfell?
That was my guess that he was at the Wall. Maybe that's what the whole freaking White Walkers start planning shit because there was no Stark at the Wall, and that's what pretty much started it all. There you go. And it happened the second time, it burned down.
So BBM says, I was right. And some other stuff describing.
Again, that doesn't sound right at all. I don't know.
Honestly, this is correct though.
He said that he thought it meant because he was at the Wall, and maybe he said maybe that's what started the White Walkers' whole situation is there was no Stark at the Winterfell because they all left. Benjen was at the Wall, and Ned went south to find his sister.
Yeah, I don't think it was until Ned came home that Benjen went to the Wall. I think he came home and he went to the Wall. And I think it was a fight because Benjen knows what was going on because Benjen was there at the Tower of or at the tournament at Harrenhal, and Benjen knows exactly what happened and what's going on. And Ned probably said, "Yep, you can just take your ass to the Wall." Because, yeah, Ned was not going to let the secret get out. And I think Benjen was like, it's not fair. The boy shouldn't be brought up as a bastard. He should know that he's the rightful heir. And Ned's like, you don't know Robert, and I don't want him to die. And I promised our sister, so I'm not going to let that happen. What do you think about that, BBM?
Looking back at season 1, it does seem like Benji does kind of know certain things because he's like always like with Jon or so. So it's like it could be possible he knows something.
BBM said, yeah, you could be right because of how he treated him, Jon in season 1. Like he hung around with Jon and he kind of understood that situation and he favored him a little bit, it seemed. So he could be right, or you could be right, which makes sense. That makes perfect sense. That
Shan Thompson says, and he could have potentially allowed too much to happen and feel guilty about it.
Yeah. I mean,
but
for sure.
So is that's kind of my point is it because Benjen knows exactly what's going on with Jon and who his parents are when he starts ripping him? He's like, here a man gets what he earns when he earns it. I mean, what the hell does that even mean? I mean, Jon was already one of the best swordsmen at the Wall. Why wouldn't Benjen want him along out there ranging? I mean, he'd get to hang out with his nephew, and 2, he'd have one of the best swords at the Wall. So why wouldn't he want him out there? Like, was it because he knows Jon's true birthright and, he wouldn't want him to die out there? And if so, if he was worried about Jon's birthright, why would he even let him take the black in the first place? Because we know the black is for life. So, I mean, what's really going on with the situation, BBN?
It's either one or two things. One, I do believe he probably just did know he didn't want him to die out there, but he just kept on just pushing it and pushing it. It's like, you know what? Let him just take the actual black instead. Maybe there's something else even more to it. Like maybe he was just saying don't do it just to motivate him more to do it because he's just like an adolescent teen at the time, whatever.
Yeah, BBM says reverse psychology about joining the Night's Watch, right? Like he wanted him to, or maybe he wanted him to, and he just, kind of reverse psychology that. But, he wouldn't want him to be a ranger because possibly he wants to still protect him, right? He knows that it's dangerous up there. But to me, I think that he really wanted Jon to have this is a learning situation. Like, yeah, Jon got treated less than the rest of his family, but he was still treated like a lord. So whereas at the Wall, you can't be that. Your name doesn't matter, or it shouldn't matter. And there was something bothering me in this episode the whole time when they were at the Wall. Everybody is wearing all black except Jon. Jon is wearing a wolf pelt on his shoulder, a white and brown wolf pelt. Everybody else is dyed black.
Mm-hmm.
So that was to me showed that he didn't even have the maturity yet. Like he couldn't even brush off his past to enough to be a part of it.
See, to me, that just got me like Jon Snow's the star of this show, and we need the camera to be able to pick him out instantly so everybody can follow the star of our show.
Yeah, I mean, I got that too, but in this situation where everybody is supposed to be equal,
Right.
It kind of makes him look like a bit of a douche and immature.
Absolutely. We got Base 2.0 said Benjen probably planned on going to the Wall for a long time since Brandon was going to become Lord and Ned would have served Brandon. So Benjen really was third brother out, and a lot of third brothers did go to the Wall back in the day. So that's definitely a possibility. Lady Elena Tyrell says, I think Benjen assisted Lyanna and Rhaegar possibly at Winterfell during Robert's rebellion, then went or was sent to the Wall by Ned. I think you're kind of onto something there, Lady Elena. I think Benjen definitely was the one that helped Rhaegar and Lyanna hook up and get out to the Tower of Joy with a pregnant Jon or pregnant Lyanna. And I think he did assist in that, and Ned found out about it, so maybe that's why he sent Benjen to the Wall.
Yeah, and that does kind of go into what you were talking about last week about, like, how did that even happen? Like, how does he even sneak away with Lyanna?
Right. He would definitely needed some help. So, absolutely. I love it. The chat is on fire. I love you guys going off. I love with so many different opinions out there. If Benjen assisted Rhaegar and Lyanna, it indirectly contributed to the deaths of Lord Rickard and Brandon, which is absolutely true. I mean, everything, butterfly effect, everything affects everything. What do you think about all this madness, BBM? Do you think, do you believe that he did? Do you believe that Benjen did help get Lyanna and Rhaegar hooked up and out to the Tower of Joy, and maybe that's why Ned got mad and sent him to the Wall? Or you just still believe that he was already at the Wall?
Well, I still kind of believe he's at the Wall, but too, that could also be it. If he was never at the Wall and was at Winterfell, that could have been like punishment that he did. Just send him to the Wall because he hooked him up.
You got a could be.
Nice.
A nice fence sit on that.
A nice little fence straddle. Now that I believe did come out of his mouth. I'm gonna buy that one because nobody straddles a fence like our man Fandom D Saint. Absolutely. The Maester at Winterfell helped manipulate it. He may have known. Absolutely, and it was probably Maester Luwin, as old as he was. He was probably already the Maester there. Ned's plan was called a dream for spring. He planned for Jon to serve under Robb one day. So. Yeah, if that's the truth. I mean, I guess everything. I mean, the big wrench got thrown in when Robert comes up there because you don't say no to a king. And once Ned had to leave, and there's no way Jon was going to be able to stay at Winterfell with Catelyn, basically he had no other choice, I guess. I mean, he just kind of punted it at that point. You think so?
Yeah, that makes sense. Like, definitely, there's no way you could leave Jon up there. Fucking stupid cat ruining everything. Still, my favorite scene in all Game of Thrones is where she's like, all this fucking happened because I couldn't love a kid that wasn't mine, some shit. Like, that is my favorite scene in all Game of Thrones because I'm like, yes, finally she realizes, like, what a fucking bitch she is and how much fucking pain she's caused because of this stupid little thing.
Absolutely. Just absolutely ridiculous. But it still doesn't explain what's going on with Benjen, basically why he ever let Jon take it. And if he was going to let Jon take the black, why didn't he want Jon coming out north? Was that literally just trying to protect his younger nephew, or what's the reason that Benjen didn't want Jon going north of the Wall, BBM?
It could be possible that just being a ranger, he has like more chances of death. So it's like, I'd rather him be at the Wall, but at a different position than out there being a ranger.
Yeah, I kind of agree. Like, he wanted to protect him, but even more so, I think that like he understood the immaturity, which is, if we look at the situation to what happened when he went beyond the Wall, freaking Benjen had a good reason to think that Jon isn't mature enough to do this. He didn't kill Ygritte, and that's something that needed to happen. In the books, it goes over, like in Brienne's chapters, she talks about, or she gets told by somebody that there was like one of the best knights in all the land or whatever, and he hesitated when killing somebody, and that got him killed. The guy pulled out a knife, he hesitated for a second, or half a second, and the dude pulled out a dagger and killed him. Even though he was the best swordsman on all the island, he still died because he hesitated. And that's something very important. Like, it worked out for Jon eventually, really, but it shouldn't have. And normally, in every other situation, 999 times out of 1,000, Jon dies because he didn't kill Ygritte or that person. And so there is that maturity there. And I think that's why he didn't do it.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, there's definitely a possibility. Maybe Jorah just knew, or maybe Benjen just flat knew he wasn't ready for it. But little Freudian slip there. Speaking of Jorah, did Jorah foreshadow the Night King sitting on the Iron Throne? Like when him and Dany were walking through the market right before that wine merchant tried to poison her, she said Viserys was the rightful king, and Jorah just straight up started laughing. I mean, he said when Aegon conquered the Seven Kingdoms, he had no right. He did it because he could. And Dany was like, well, that because he had dragons. I mean, are they basically kind of foreshadowing it's going to be the Night's King that's coming to sit the Iron Throne? What do you think, BB?
It could just be the Night King who has a dragon. It could be Dan who has a dragon. It could be Jon who's eventually going to be getting a dragon because he's obviously going to be riding the extra dragon. So I'm guessing whoever is like the last one standing on a dragon is going to sit on the Iron Throne. So my vote is Tyrion.
So weird.
He said Tyrion. He said Tyrion's gonna. Dude, whoever has a dragon at the end is gonna sit on the Iron Throne. That's what he said. He said so. He's voting Tyrion.
He doesn't think that the Night's King's not going to go down, sit the Iron Throne, and make Cersei his Night's Queen.
If it gets Cersei to live, then yeah, let it be.
Well, living is subjective at this point, right? Like, so if he,
Nah, she's gonna be sucking that snow cone, bro. She's gonna stay alive.
He said she's gonna be sucking that snow cone. Oh, oh shit. But you're gonna have BBM on your side as long as Cersei, benefits in some way from it. So he's down. He doesn't care what happens as long as Cersei benefits. But I think that is a good foreshadow. It doesn't matter who has a right to it; it's who can take it, because power is what matters in this world. And that's the whole. I mean, that's been a theme for a long time. Whoever has the power in a situation, the whole show's kind of about that. Even in conversations, it's who has the power in the conversation.
And that's why Stannis is not going to get the
throne. And speaking of power.
Have...
Is Sam going to pull off some like wizard shit to help stop the White Walkers? Because like when he was there, Jon was like, I always wanted to be a ranger. And Sam replied, I always wanted to be a wizard. And Jon started laughing, but Sam's like, what? No, I'm serious. I mean, there has to be more of a payoff to that than just Gilly being impressed that he can read, right, BBM?
At this point, when I heard that, I was like, okay, so I'm guessing we're going to be getting some type of Gandalf type character from Sam, and then I'm still waiting for that moment. But the closest to it was him being like the first one that we've seen in the show to, kill a White Walker at this point. So that's like close enough.
Yeah, he said probably not, but we kind of get a little payoff because he's like the first one to kill a White Walker, which is kind of magic in its own right. But so that's a little bit of a payoff. I would like to see him do some crazy spells, but it's doubtful. Like you see in the Shy and shit, like people have to go train and in the what's called Shadowlands, whatever they are. Like people have to go train to do that shit. He can't spend like a year at the Citadel and come back doing magic. That'd be fucking.
I don't know. I mean, alchemy is part of some of the things is one of the links that you can forge at the Citadel. So, I mean, I don't think they said anything about it yet, but I think our man Sam was absolute. I mean, he said, no, I'm serious. You bet your ass he's in there with that alchemy stuff, trying to learn some potions and tricks and being able to blast some stuff. So I think he's going to come out with some smooth tricks. We're not going to see my man Sam wielding a sword going after any White Walkers, but you damn sure might see some green and orange potions coming after him. And blowing some up and doing some weird stuff. I don't know.
It's gonna turn into a full blown like MMORPG, like where people are throwing
Absolutely.
spells and everybody's firing out words and shit. I don't think that's gonna happen, but that would be great. That would be great, honestly.
Oh, what's up? We got an old schooler. I haven't seen you in a minute. What's good, Alan Vanderson? Welcome back to the chat. Good to see you, my man. But yeah, I absolutely, just the way, like when John was laughing, because, and you know, Sam should have started laughing too. Like, yeah, that's ridiculous. But no, Sam looked at him stone cold and said, "What? I'm serious." Like, that's got to come back into play. My man Sam is going to put on a Wizards hat and do some shit. I'm telling you.
I'm not with you here, DJ. I think that's even a little crazy for me. Like, I don't know. Maybe like he could do something with the Weirwoods, because that's something we were talking about beforehand, right? Like, why did he all like? There has to be a reason that he, did his stuff in front of the Weirwood. But so maybe he gets some magic from that. But I don't think he's gonna be like shooting out spells or nothing. That's just a little too much for me to
Not in the
add
budget
on at
for
the
Game
end.
of Thrones.
At the very least, I'm going to say he learned how to make wildfire and get some batches of wildfire going to be able to throw against some of these. I mean, at the very least, he's got that potion going. But I think he might even have another trick other than that up his sleeve. What do you think, BBM?
Now that I'll agree with you on, that he's doing something with wildfire. That I'll get behind, because that'll actually be useful in that war, the War of Winterfell there.
Yeah, he agreed. Like that wildfire, definitely possible, probably likely.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. I love that. It's got to happen. It's got to happen. Well, Robert is dying. Renly tries to talk Ned into seizing the kingdom, and Ned says that he will not dishonor Robert's last hours by shedding blood in his halls and dragging frightened children from their beds. But isn't that exactly how Robert's reign started, BBM?
Exactly. He's being hypocritical there if it's not going to actually happen.
Yeah, but that gets pointed out, right? Like, someone, I forget who points it out in the episode, like, you can't pick and choose what's honorable, right? Like, yeah, I don't know. I agree with Ned. Like, it's Littlefinger. Littlefinger says like something about like you know something needs to be done, but you don't want to do it because it's dirty or whatever. And that's kind of Ned's thing. Like, he that's probably the right thing to do, is what what's his name said, but it's not right. And Ned's gonna try to do what's not right. Yeah, it doesn't matter like that someone else is doing some unjust shit. Like Ned, that's not Ned's game.
Yeah, but Ned was it dishonorable when Robert told him to write down what I say, and then Ned decided to kind of improvise and write it in his own words? Was that honor?
No, but that was right. That was just.
It may have been what was best or more just for the king or for the kingdom and the realm, but it's not what his king, which is what the hand's supposed to do, exactly what the king says to do. That's not what the king said.
Well, to be fair, if it is his son, like if Joffrey was his son, then the way he wrote it down would still apply. So technically, like he's not writing down a lie, right? Because is it more honorable to not write down a lie because he says my son Joffrey Baratheon? So that's a technical lie because it's not really his son. Or is it more honorable to say his heir because you know that it's not his son?
I don't know. What do you think, BBM?
All I gotta say is this: if I grew up, have a kid, and my best friend know that kid is not mine, he better tell me. Don't wait it out. He could have honestly just told Robert in his deathbed, "It's like, yo, I gotta be real with you. Joffrey ain't yours. Marcella ain't yours. Tommen ain't yours. Like, don't end up killing them off, man. Just let them go, whatever. Leave them be, because you're gonna start a whole out war, which pretty much did happen. So you should have been dishonest at that point. Granted, he did say, my true heir, but in reality, this wasn't Joffrey. So yeah.
Dude, those
Yeah.
facial expressions. You guys have to remember, I can't hear a word he's saying, but those facial expressions are priceless. That's so awesome. What do you say, Andy?
I forget.
Big one.
I
It
had
was a
it
lot.
prepared what I was gonna say, but then I started listening to you. And I
Oh
was trying to
shit.
remember what his facial expressions look like, and my
Oh,
brain can only remember one thing at a time in its short-term memory.
it's all good. I'm gonna hear it all on the playback. We will get it in then. Cersei stole her throne twice. First when Robert died, and basically she tore up his last will and testament, and then again when Tommen died. So I mean, Cersei's one of the baddest warriors in here. She never swung one sword and stole the throne twice. That's pretty sweet.
I mean, yeah, never swung one sword, but she fucking blew up a whole building. I mean, that's a bit worse. That's like I never swung any swords, but I shot someone with a gun. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so she did attack.
She did it. What do you think, BBM? Is Cersei one of the better strategists in this game? I mean, the fact that she was able to take the throne not once but twice.
Goddamn right. It took Tywin with just a pen. Not really a pen, though, but you know what I mean. To just end the Stark Rebellion. And Cersei, without even lifting a damn sword. Come on, bro. It's
Oh, so
there.
good.
All there. Black and white, clear as crystal. Just rewatch it. Just rewatch it.
He said that Tywin basically did it all, not Cersei. No, he didn't. He didn't really say that, but he did say like that he basically went in about the Lannisters. Like Tywin ended the Stark rebellion with one like stroke of pen, and then Cersei took the throne without lifting her sword. So the whole Lannister line is kind of legit, but no honor, no honor. I think you gotta try to be somewhere in the middle, right?
I
Like
mean, yeah, you have
to
to,
live with yourself.
just like George does with all his characters. There's nothing but gray area. I mean, there's some good and some bad, and pretty much everybody except for Jon Snow and Euron. That's just how he wrote it.
Yeah, but I mean, like you gotta want to try to be in the middle. If you're, let's pretend you're a character in the story, right? Don't you? You don't want to be a Cersei who just took it. You want to be someone that has a bit of honor, like maybe, um, uh, I don't know, not even Renly, because Renly is kind of just honorable, but like maybe like Loras, like you're a pretty decent dude, but maybe you're into a little bit of buggery, so so you're not totally, uh, you're not totally legit. Sorry, I don't know if you guys know what buggery is, but it's like a, uh, I, I'm kidding. Shit, British words, fucking funny.
No, we're there. Is there any way whatsoever that Marin freaking Trent killed Serial Pharrell? I mean, when Arya's running away and she stops, if you listen in real close, you hear a sword drop. And the only one that was holding the metal sword that would sound like that was Marin Trent. So is there any way that Serial Pharrell is dead? What do you think, BBM?
No, he's obviously jacking a guard right then and there. If you heard a sword, that's probably Cyril Farrell just actually picking up an actual sword and actually fighting him. And then he just probably just dipped or just what is it, the type of dance, and just like flew out of there or something. Or just probably just did Assassin's Creed leap of faith out the window. And he pretty much, did the whole face change into one of those people that was in the prison, and that's how he met Arya. It's all been planned, man.
Yeah, I mean, he took on those Lannisters like nothing, and then all of a sudden it's just Marin Trent sitting there, and then all of a sudden he's supposed to be dead. What do you think, Andy?
Um, I'm one of the people. I think that it's possible that he's Jack and Nagar. Like that seems like a pretty legit theory to me, and that's
You
what
think he's a
BBM was
faceless
talking about.
man?
Yeah, but you're right. I mean, the wooden sword wouldn't sound like that. You can't say you'd hear a sword fall, and just the style of fighting, it suits like someone with a wooden sword. You wouldn't definitely die if you had a wooden sword, just based on the style. Now, if he was like a regular Westerosi fighter, he's at a severe disadvantage with that wooden sword. But that's not the style that he fights in. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Water dance.
Absolutely. There's no way. I mean, I like I'm not 100%. He's a faceless man. I mean, it makes sense. The first sword of Bravos. But man, I don't know. The first sword to the Sea Lord and from Bravos being a Bravosi. It's not too far fetched. It could be. But what is far fetched is that Marin freaking Trent, as the Hound would say, took out Serial for real. There's just no way.
You know how I know he probably isn't dead? Did they ever like
when Rob
confirm
says
his
to
head
call
on
the
the spike?
banners, Maester Lewin gets a little sinister smile, almost like he's happy to see the grander plan taking shape. And that's back to what I was saying, you know, kind of like, did these Maesters have a bigger Maester plan, or is he just happy that Rob's stepping up and doing what needed to be done at the time? What do you think about that, BBM? Or go ahead.
Hold on. BBM had a question.
Okay.
Yeah. What was your question again, BBM?
Oh yeah, when they were like, you know, recounting like heads on the spike, did we ever like see, or did they ever mention like Serial Pharrell's head on the spike? Because they were like putting like a lot of like, you know, people that were working for the Starks heads on a spike, and I never like recall anyone saying that.
Oh, that's a good point. He says, when they were showing all the heads on the spikes, do we ever get any hint that Serial Pharrell's head's on one of those spikes? Because they were taking out everybody that works for Ned.
No, I don't remember that, but we've also been told, and we know like in the regular book, how they can fake stuff, because once they take a head, sometimes they tar it or it gets so distorted that you really can't tell who it is. Just like when they put a fake Davos Seaworth up in the Manderleys and said and told the Lannisters that they killed Davos. Once you kill somebody and tar their head or whatever, you could probably tell them it's any head. So, I mean, it could have been him up there, but I don't think anything that we saw or was told or shown.
Yeah, so that's a fair enough point.
George Washington's head was on a spike, so anything could happen.
I think George Bush's was.
If the faceless man whose name spells Rhaegar, if I recall, is Syrio, that would be great. Wow, he would have to return. The faceless man spells Rhaegar? Or Serial Pharrell, you're saying? Wow, yeah. I don't know. I have to mess with that. That's funny. The George of House Washington, loyal knight of Ned Stark. Oh, but that's funny. That's funny.
What? Yeah. Now, what was your question again? Like that?
Well, I was just saying, like when Rob called his banners, Maester Lewin just got like a little sinister smile when he said he was going to do it. Like they put it, and what are you going to do? And him and Theon were standing there, and Rob's like, "I'm going to go, but I'm not going alone. I'm bringing the North with me. I'm calling the banners." And when he looked at Maester Lewin, he says, "Call the banners." And Maester Lewin just got this little sinister look, like this is kind of the way he wanted it to go, or he knew it was going to go, like a plan was taking shape and going in the right direction. So, like back to that Maester plan, is this part of the Maester's master plan, Maester's Maester plan, or is this just Maester Lewin being proud of Rob Stark manning up and doing what needed to be done?
I think it's him being proud, like that moment, like he became a man instantly. Like I'm sure that he thought that was the right thing to do at that time.
If it wasn't for the books and just how coinkydinky it was when Rob getting shot and being nursed to health by them, I would agree that maybe it was just him being proud. But to me, I think it's plotting into some not even northern conspiracy, but basically just the Maester's master. I think the Maesters have a long game that they're playing.
The Grand Maester conspiracy.
It was probably just bloodlust.
Absolutely, yeah. I think that's a real thing. These Maesters have been in it too long, know too much, have too much information, have the right people in the right places. You're not supposed to have a last name when you're in the Maesters. It's kind of like the Night's Watch, but there's still plenty of plotting and scheming going on. You bet your ass. You don't think the Maesters have more of a plan that's going on, BBM? You think it's just kind of more of a side plot where Sam found certain information? Was that their main thing?
Show-wise, yeah, just the Sam plot, that's it. Me might get like a touch on the Citadel, maybe like once or twice, possibly like near the end when it's all said and done. Someone just pretty much like recounting the history of like what the hell just happened so far from season 1 till now. But other than that, pretty much no. But book wise, yeah, I can't trust like Macers at all from the books.
Andy,
Yeah.
go ahead.
No, go ahead. What were you gonna say?
Oh no, I was gonna say, do you think Mr. Lewin ever trusted Theon when this whole battle thing was going on? Do you think he kind of had any idea that Theon would end up using this to get away and basically rebel against Robb in a way?
I don't think that he knew that he was going to do that, but he definitely didn't trust him because, he was one of those people. A big reason that Theon, now that you say it, that Theon felt like he didn't belong there was because Maester Luwin. Like in that episode, right? Uh, Theon's talking to Asha, whatever her name is, and Maester Luwin comes in. He's like, "She's our guest, or why are you treating our guest like that?" And he's like, "I thought she was our prisoner." And then Maester Luwin snaps back with like, "Oh, are those in your experience? Are those things too mutually exclusive?"
Exactly.
Like basically putting him down. Like, bitch, you're a prisoner. What are you talking about?
Exactly. And I mean, it's well known. Even when Jaime's talking to Jory, and while Robert's all philandering in the back room, even Jory's like, "Oh yeah, Theon, he's a good lad." And, I mean, Jaime instantly snapped back, is like, "I doubt it." So I mean, it's pretty much well known that Theon's not a very trustworthy guy. So I don't know. Everybody saw that, but Robb, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, well, even I don't know. It's just giving in to peer pressure, I think, and that's that thing. Like Theon had too much pride in his name and who he was, and that's like his downfall, right? Because he's susceptible to his dad's influence because of that. Like he wasn't necessarily a bad guy all in all, but he wasn't a good guy. But he would have helped Robb had it not been for his dad.
Right, but I mean that's pretty weak. He grows up as a Stark. He grows up as Robb as his brother, and just one night with his dad being a dick to him, and he just falls apart and falls right back into Greyjoy.
Well, yeah, that's what I mean. The pride in the name and stuff. Like in that scene, he's real prideful about where he comes from and shit, and talking about how great the houses are and where he comes from. They don't take prisoners or and shit like that. When he's a prisoner, like the irony in the situation is that he is a prisoner and he's saying all this stuff about how she should be grateful while he's ungrateful. But it's because of that pride that makes him susceptible to his dad's influence. Like by his dad saying, "You aren't one of us," because of these things, it immediately puts him in a place where he is susceptible to just doing whatever his dad tells him.
Do you agree with that, BBM?
Yeah, I pretty much agree with Andy. It's like he was born a Greyjoy, still a Greyjoy, even though he was pretty much raised by the Starks. But still, the moment he actually got back to where to the Iron Island, got to see his family again, they just pretty much just looked down upon him. It was like, wait, what? You're not really an Ironborn. We pretty much take. We don't accept all this hand-me-down stuff. So he wanted to pretty much prove himself that he still is a Greyjoy. So he just pretty much betrayed Robb, and even Catelyn was right. It's like you really honestly believe that even if we send down Theon, that they're pretty much going to help us out in this war. Like, I don't know. It's like one of the things early on, like those mistakes that Robb did in the beginning, where it's like, were you a good leader? I don't know. You're good when it comes to battles, but other than that, it's like, he's slipping.
That's a good point, BBM. Like the other people knew it, which makes you wonder. Like, so he brought up that even Catelyn knew, like, hey, you shouldn't do this because he's a Greyjoy. Even if you send him up there and Theon really wants to help you think his dad's gonna help? Which is a good point. Do you think that the fact that Theon was there and Ned wouldn't want to put down Theon's house, that Robb didn't really know how bad Theon's parents were? Like, how bad his dad was? Because they would have learned about the Greyjoys together. Whereas if Theon wasn't there, then Robb would have been taught, like, hey, the Greyjoys are pieces of shit and you can't trust them as far as you can throw them. But since Theon was there and they're not getting, like, Ned obviously wouldn't want to put down Theon's family, that maybe he doesn't get taught as much about the Greyjoys, and that is what causes him to trust the Greyjoys in a situation where he shouldn't, and that's why everybody was saying don't do it.
Yeah, absolutely, that makes sense. That definitely makes sense. Do you think there's going to be? I mean, it's probably too small a plot to even think about, but he was tapping the boat's daughters all the way over. Is there a little Kraken out there? Is there another little Theon Kraken out there that's going to pop into the show at all? What do you think about that, BBM?
I hope so, because that would just be like the last, Greyjoy that's alive, apparently, right? Because his pop's dead. His sister's pretty much is knocking on Depp's door, but she can't really continue the line. Obviously, I'm guessing Euron is going to be dying, so it's like the last Greyjoy. Has to be some type of person out there.
True. Like, there could be. He wants there to be, because essentially that's the last Greyjoy, aside from like Euron, right? That's the and that would be kind of cool if he lost his manhood, and then he still had like a son out there somewhere. So that would be cool. Plus, I just wanted the kid to be all ugly, so then like he thought of himself as all handsome, but he's like blasting this girl that he didn't think was very pretty.
Oh, she had a grill, no doubt about it. She had a grill, so yeah, that'd be awesome. But the fact that he may have killed his other kids, the Miller's kids that were probably his, the fact that and now he doesn't have any way to reproduce any children, that would be kind of cool if that he did actually in the end, like if he ends up living, find out that he does and can marry the salt wife or whatever and actually have a family still because he already has an heir.
Yeah, I even forgot about the Miller's kids.
All right. So, I mean, that'd be kind of a little, I don't know, does he deserve redemption? But it'd be some, nice ending for him. How did Ghost know that Othar and Jasper Flowers were back up and alive in the Lord Commander's chambers? Was he being warged, or was it just like direwolf magic? I mean, he was in there with Jon Snow in his room, and he started going nuts like he knew what was going down. How did he know, BBM?
Yeah, that's just animal nature right there. Just like in horror movies, when like something goes down, immediately the animals know. Just like when you watch the movie Conjuring, the dog was like barking every time when the ghost or something happened. So I'm just guessing it's just nature. If it was warging, then hell, we're giving Bloodraven too much credit. You're giving him too much credit. We should stop it now. But yeah, that's my 2 cents.
All right, BBM said Bloodraven warging everything is essentially the same as everybody's a secret Targaryen. Like, you're giving them too much. There's too much of this Bloodraven warging everything. So it's animal nature.
What's the reason then? How did he know?
Animal nature, which is legit. Like,
just straight up animal nature. He knew something across the compound was going weird.
Yeah, like my dog's crazy. I think she's stupid half the time. But she'll go outside and bust and chase down a deer. Like, it's pretty far away, and she just knows it's out there. And she's just a regular dog. She ain't even no magic dog.
Yeah, but she has smell and stuff. And Sam had already made mention that these dead things had no smell. There was no smell to these things. So
that's not northern magic. She can feel something interfering. Like, she can
Andy. I bet DJ's gonna be like, okay.
Shannon Thompson says no direwolves are special and were sent by Bloodraven. OTDA saying Bloodraven. Ghost knows all. Even evil Catelyn knew their power. Absolutely. Yeah, I don't know. It just seems a little weird that Ghost just knew to go nuts and knew that was going down right at that point. I mean, that's more than a coincidence. So again, you don't think? I mean, I think Bloodraven steering that has a lot better chance than he just sensed it. I don't think I'm the one that's out there on that one.
Well, I'll be out there because I think that I'm with BBM. It's just like whether it's like northern magic and he sensed it, like that kind of magic, or not, or just like his animal instinct. It's just I don't know. Maybe he got some feedback on that weirwood net. You know what I mean? Like he was catching some feedback and he was like, hey, something's going on out there. So shouldn't be going on. But yeah, I just think it's that animal instinct. The direwolves are magic, so they have that magic.
Do you think that they were sent? Do you think they were placed there to get dragged back in? Do you think that was a plan, or do you think Wolf just happened to happen on them, and the Night's Watch just happened to bring them in, and they just happened to come back alive and go after Jorah Mormont?
No, you got to have that proof. Like, I think that was necessary. Like, that kind of seems like a plan, just like the dragon glass and stuff.
Well, okay, if it's a plan, then whose plan is it?
That's what I'm saying. I say it's Bloodraven. That's a plant. Like, he put that there. He's letting them know, like, warning them.
So that part's Bloodraven, but not Ghost.
Yeah, I don't think he told Ghost. Like, I don't think so. I think he just set it up and let the shit happen. Just, I don't know. We can't. I agree with BBM. We can't say that everything is Bloodraven that happens by coincidence. Like, there are coincidences in regular life, so there's got to be coincidences and stories too.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's true. But absolutely, Sir Pounce for King. Sir Pounce will come back as a White Walker and sit the end.
Oh my god, you guys are the stupid cat. I hope
Sir
all
Pounce
the cats die.
Absolutely coming
I hope
back.
they were all in the freaking great Sept of Baelor and it blew up. All the cats in King's Landing died.
We already know, like in the books, there's that old gnarly black cat that Cersei says is just evil and always doing messed up things. We already know that cat's warged by somebody. We don't know who it's warged by, but it's warged by somebody. So if we already know cats are being warged, then why not have Sir Pounce come back and be warged by the Night's King and sit the Iron Throne as his thrall?
Is he serious about this cat thing?
I mean, it seems feasible to me.
I don't know if he's serious, but it's DJ, so it's just as likely that he's being serious. Like, I don't know. I don't know when he's not being serious because some of the shit that he says is so crazy. So I feel like I have to go back and read and be like, DJ's in some crazy other land when he's reading this. I don't know what's going on.
Oh, we definitely see things from the other side of the window. Bran says Robb will free father and then come back with their mother. Rickon says no, they won't. Was Rickon a green seer, BBM?
Can you repeat the question?
What was that?
He said, repeat the question, please.
Oh, he said Rickon basically came in and said they've all gone away. And Bran was like, Robb's going to go get father and come back with mother. And Rickon looks him right in the eye and says, no, they won't. They're not coming back. So is he just a little boy that's scared that his family's gone? Or was Rickon a green seer and knew for a fact that they were not coming back?
No, I don't think so. It could be, I don't even think that's even possible. I think he was just being like, you know what? This is war. People be dying. I don't think they're coming back.
He's definitely a green seer. For sure, because both him and Bran had the same dream when Ned died. So he could see it as much as Bran could, right? So he at least has the ability. Like, maybe he saw it. Maybe he's not as powerful as Bran, and maybe because Bran is such a powerful green seer, it takes longer to learn. Like, he can't have control over it. Whereas, like, Rickon, he might be able to see something just instinctively because he doesn't have as much power as Bran does.
Right. They said Bran's the most powerful one. Like, he's 1 in a million. He's the most powerful one that's maybe ever come through. So nobody's as strong as Bran. But, I mean, we know the Starks are all basically wargs. And is there a way that Bran or Rickon's not just a warg, but a green seer as well? I mean, it kind of seems like it to me. But
yeah, when they saw Ned in the crypts, right?
Right, exactly.
And they had the same dream, or that same day.
And how creepy is that for little old Rickon to just be walking around in the crypts by himself? I mean, none of the other Stark kids really like going by himself, but the youngest one, little Rickon, just down there in the dark playing, like just chilling.
Well, he knew that he was going to be down there soon enough, I think. Like, that's just going to be his home. So he wasn't scared of it. He's like, I'm going to be in here in a year anyway, so might as well just hang out down here.
Base says Rickon is too dangerous. He becomes more feral the way he uses his power. I don't know if he becomes more feral, but he he's definitely a wild one. I would think maybe the older he gets and the more he uses it, he kind of hones it in a little bit. But yeah, he's definitely a wild one.
No, because anytime you wear something skin, it kind of corrupts your mind. You become more like that thing. So I think he started so young warging, and his direwolf was so crazy from the start that like he would be easily corrupted by like the direwolf mentality. He would get way crazier than anybody else. Just he from too much of that warging, sharing Shaggy Dog's mind. Shaggy Dog has a strong will and is crazy. DJ, I can't concentrate when you're blowing me kisses.
Yeah, that would be to the giant table walking by. Not to you, buddy. Oh,
but yeah, so his mind would be corrupted by that. So I think Rickon does get pretty wild. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Do you think Rickon's going to play a lot bigger part in the books, BBM, or is it just basically just kind of a wild story that goes nowhere and he's just kind of like an extra character that's just going to meet an end and that's that? Or is he actually going to play a part?
He could play a part, but inevitably he's going to die. Like I already see like all the Starks dying in the books, just one by one, if anything. So it's just like no more Starks in the end. And then, then Jon Snow realized that, yeah, I must have never been a Stark because I survived it all.
Ooh, that's pretty good. He said that he just planned for like all the Starks to die in the end. So like he thinks Rickon's gonna die, but he says that like how Jon's gonna figure out that he's not actually a Stark is because he doesn't die when everybody else dies.
I like Shannon Thompson. Rickon not being old enough may have just seen it without thinking, or Bloodraven tested him and he failed to zig instead of zag. Oh, Bloodraven saw him. He was not going to zigzag in time. Rickon is the key to the north. Stannis getting control of Winterfell. Yeah, that's the northern plan for Stannis. That's where he sent Davos. But I would just love to hear about Rickon come mobbing in on unicorns, just coming into battle, then just get slain instantly. But that would be sweet. Sam, one of these that Andy wanted to talk about, BBM, do you think there's going to be any significance to the fact that Sam traded face and knelt and said his words in front of the heart tree?
I don't think so, really. Honestly, like how so, Andy? Like we were trying to follow up from this.
Well, I just think it's weird. Like there's got to be some significance to them going out to like a weirwood tree or heart tree to do it. Why? What is the significance of Sam? Like they put that scene there. All that really happens is they go and say their vows. It's unnecessary to have that scene unless there's some significance to it. And they actually dedicate 2 scenes to it. One where Sam basically tells everybody that he's going to go and do it out at the heart tree. And forsake his gods that he was baptized under, and then the scene where they actually go do it. So maybe one of those scenes is necessary, or you put that there, but both scenes are definitely not necessary. So there has to be some significance that to him saying, like, basically changing religions almost to say the words in front of a different god than he was born under.
I think Sam's an atheist after all he's seen and all he's witnessed and all he's read. We know he's learned. And I think, with all the evil or whatever, I think he's an atheist and he doesn't care. Jon's his boy. Jon's stuck up for him and he's going to go say his words with his brother out there. He's not going to let his brother go out there and say the words alone. He's going to go there with him, have his back, and say the words right there next to him because he doesn't care either way. He doesn't even believe in it. But if this is what they have to do, he's going to do it with Jon. What do you think, BBM?
Were there any signs like Sam was like an atheist? Like I never caught on to that, really.
You can't. Here's the problem. You can't have Sam both be serious about wanting to become a wizard and be an atheist at the same time.
Of course you can.
You can't believe in magic and be an atheist.
What are you talking about?
Magic is supernatural. So is that what you mean you believe in the supernatural?
I disagree 100%. And the alchemy is about to do with science and the different things you can put together to make other things happen. That's not fantasy, that's fact.
But that's chemistry. Alchemy is something different.
Well, alchemy supposedly has a few extra spells tossed into the mix, and alchemy came up with wildfire, so it must be real.
Yeah, so you can't be magic. You can't do magic and not believe in, and be atheist.
Shannon Thompson says her phone is dying. Thanks for putting up with me. Thanks for being here, Shannon. Definitely hope to see you. We're going to be having a couple. We're getting closer to the season, so we're definitely going to be pumping and maybe even going on twice a week. But we will always be here on Tuesday night, so you got to get some sleep. Get some sleep. You can watch the rest of it later, and we will see you next Tuesday night. We got a wrong one. Sam says he read in a book that the White Walkers sleep under the ice for thousands of years, but when they wake up, and then he couldn't finish. When they wake up, what, Sam? And he just says, I hope the wall is high enough. What did Sam read in that book, BBM?
He read the end times, man. He knows they're coming. He knows. He better start, gathering all these supplies, getting like all the fire they can because the White Walkers are coming.
Yeah, could be. I mean, he just reads about what's going to happen. The real question of that is like, where does he read this at? Like, who has this information? So,
In a very old book that Maester Aemon had that I'm assuming he brought with him from the Citadel, or a book that was just written long, long ago in the library of the Night's Watch.
So, but that book would have to be at least 2,000 years old.
They have tons of books that are that old. They have books that are crumbling that Sam's going down there. I mean, in the books, it's in the show, but in the books, Sam is constantly going down there talking about how crumbly all those old pages are. And the books that are thousands and thousands of years old are about to go to dust. Somebody needs to rewrite them. And that's kind of what he's trying to do, read them and kind of keep them alive. So there are absolutely books that are that old down there.
But sure. The significance of that is that the White Walkers would have had to been defeated twice for that information to be out there. Because they would have had to get defeated once 2,000 years ago and defeated again before that. Because for that book to say they sleep for thousands of years and then come back and something happens.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that. I think this is a cycle. I don't think this is a once in a lifetime phenomenon. I think this is a cycle that happens. That's exactly why Osha said the same thing. They weren't dead. They were sleeping, old man. They sleep, they come back, they do what they need to do, and then they go back to sleep for thousands of years. I mean, maybe it's population control. Who knows?
Yeah, it could be. Then the ultimate question is, like, what are they doing? What do they want?
And that is the question. What do they want?
Baby.
What do the White Walkers want, BBM?
He said they want Cersei to be queen, so they're going to come down and make it happen. No, I'm just kidding.
What is the White Walkers? What is the Night's King ultimate goal, BBM? What's happening with
Honestly, sub out Cersei, put in Dany. I think he wants Dany at this point. Because it's just like when we see in previous seasons, like he was literally just waiting for her to come in with the damn dragon. So at this point, won't be surprised that during the Battle of Winterfell, like he wants like Dany or something. That'd be crazy if he actually just points to her or something, but who knows at this point. But it seems like it's all steading back to the Children of the Forest. He just wants revenge. And the Starks must have something to do with it. So that's why he specifically just going to Winterfell. It's either that or just also since Bran is there. That's another. That's the last guess.
So he basically said, if you switched out Cersei with Dany, like he could be actually wanting Dany because he had shown that he waited for Dany at that one time. So maybe it has something to do with Dany.
What do you think? What do you think, Amy?
I think there's probably some type of deal. Like there's something that they need to do every 2,000 years or so to exist. And I think it has to do with like the Isle of Faces. I think that's where they actually need to go.
You think they're trying to make their way down to the neck and get down to Harrenhal and the Isle of Faces?
Yeah, I think there's something down there. And because even if you think about like how Harrenhal is cursed, like what's that about? what there's something significant about that area, I think, and they brought it up like with Howland Reed's whole situation and stuff. There's something going on at the Isle of Faces, and I think that's where the White Walkers need to go. There's something down there. Maybe a pact. That's where they have to make a pact, or like what's it gonna be for the next 2,000 years? But
that's what it is. That's what we got to figure out. What is the true one that might be on the next one? What is the truth and the meaning of the Night's King? What is his final destination? What the hell does he want? How's he going to look at our man Jon Snow and just be like, yep, look at all this? What was he trying to say with that? He was trying to communicate something. Yeah, did you ever have any ideas on that at Hard Home BBM? What was he trying to say to my man Jon Snow with that?
Trying to say, come at me, bro. I got the army here. What you gonna try to do? You gonna get these dragon glass to try to kill me? Ain't gonna happen, probably. That'll be messed up. If I don't know where they try to even like do anything towards the Night King, he just doesn't die, and it backfires on them, and then that's how like they lose like Winterfell, and then they have to like run to King's Landing or somewhere else to be like, okay, Cersei, we need to go to an army actually help us out here.
Oh, I can't wait to get that one.
He said, "Come at me, bro." That's essentially what he said, and then he expanded upon that. He says, "Come at me, bro," and then expanded on that a little bit, but it still was basically, "Come at me, bro."
Yeah, I cannot. I can't wait to watch the recap of this one. What do you think? We're gonna end on that one. What do you think, Andy? What do you think he was trying to say to Jon Snow with that one?
He was trying to show his power. I think like that's a show of force. Like, hey, this is what you're up against. You have no power here. Like, yeah, you killed one of us, but look what I can do. Like, everybody that dies becomes a part of my army. And, he was just showing them that. And it seemed like there was some kind of connection, which maybe it's because he killed one of the whites, or one of the White Walkers, but I don't know. There might be some kind of connection with Jon.
Nice. Well, we will definitely have to expand on that in the next one. And I think on the next one, we might have to start getting like every other one, start putting like a book character in that maybe all the show people aren't going to know about, but for all our book readers out there. And I'm thinking next week we'll sneak in my man Nimble Dick Crab. Let's get a little Nimble Dick Crab discussion going on. And we'll break that down with whatever else we throw in with the show that's coming. But just give you guys a heads up, a little week advance to maybe do some research on my man Nimble Dick.
Well, since
hero or villain, that's what it's going to break down. Was he a hero or was he a villain?
I mean, he died for the cause in the end, but and he got his two gold dragons. But I digress. Since we're gonna do that one next week, we got to talk about that other thing that I was wanting to talk about this week. Which, you got something else?
No, I was gonna say, are you talking about the singer?
Yeah.
Absolutely. The sending what was it, Marion over to basically be the hype man for the watch. Was Jon a genius basically for thinking about that and trying to send him out for propaganda to get more people to come to the watch? And and expand on that, Andy. What were you wanting to say about that?
Yeah, I don't think of Jon as like a very smart commander in general. Like, yeah, he's a good dude, but he's not really the best commander in my opinion. But one of the best things he did was when they were shorthanded, knowing that the Night's Watch is undermanned, he sends, instead of like some ugly crass dude to go pick to get people to join the wall, he sends a singer out there to go sing songs about the valor and how great the men of the Night's Watch are, in order to get volunteers to volunteer to join the Night's Watch, which makes a stronger force by itself. So I think that propaganda, that idea to have propaganda in Westeros, that's brilliant. That's a brilliant move on Jon's part.
I think it's kind of like an easy next step. Nobody wants to come to the wall. The only people that are coming to the wall are rapists, thieves, and cut purses. I mean, there's nobody that's like, there's no more honorable families that are sending children to the wall. There's no more good guys coming to the wall. They've basically run through. They're going to King's Landing and dragging people out of the black cells to come up there. They're taking the lowest of the low. The Night's Watch is dying. It almost seems like the only choice he had left, I mean, unless you're going to start promoting wildlings, which is what he ends up doing, is going across continents and trying to bring people from across the continent to come help. Because you've basically exhausted all your resources over here in Westeros. So it's almost like, I mean, it was like a last-ditch effort, and I think it was a moronic move because nobody wants to be at the Watch. This singer showed no love. He hadn't been there for a long time, and Jon sends him away hoping he's going to bring people back. You send me out of Westeros where nobody even knows about the Night's Watch, I'm going to take off all my black clothes, buy some new shit, and I'm going to be out. That's that. Thanks for buying me a ticket across the water. So I don't know if I think that was such a genius idea.
Yeah, but he's a singer. He still gets to do what he wants, what he liked to do. He still gets to do that. He doesn't even have to be at the wall. He's a recruiter. He just has to stop by the wall every once in a while and then go back out. It's not like he's welcome everywhere because he's part of the Night's Watch, and two, he's a singer. And
right, but the Night's Watch hasn't been welcome everywhere. Yoren says when him and Tyrion are going to be going back, he's like, we don't stay as nice as you, my lord, because basically people are done trying to keep up with the Night's Watch. They're not even letting them stay there anymore.
Yeah, but the brilliance is singers are welcome everywhere. A good singer can be welcome anywhere.
I'll give you that. Yeah, the fact he's a singer is definitely going to open up a few more doors.
And once people hear about, people are susceptible to that kind of thing, hearing about stories. That's a big theme in the thing about grandiose stories about certain people affect how the world sees them, and it changes people's actions. Even Jaime, in the first book, he's a piece of shit, but he changes his that book, the book that he likes to read. Hearing about the great things other people did makes him want to be a better person. So that's a brilliant move to hear about all the brave and heroic deeds people at the Night's Watch did are going to make normal people want to join the Night's Watch. And I think it's a smart move. Propaganda works, or else we wouldn't use it.
What's up, BBM? You going to straddle that fence, or you got one side or the other? Andy thinks it's a genius move. I think it's a horrible idea. What do you think, BBM?
I think it's a good idea if you go in by propaganda. It's the same thing like what Cersei did, recruiting the lords to go on her side as opposed to going on Dany's. So hopefully it works out in Jon's favor.
He said he agrees with me. Booyah! And that he actually did that.
I don't know if I'm buying that one either. I can't wait to watch this. Yeah, this has been definitely one of the more interesting ones we got through. I definitely want to thank everybody that made their way through this tonight with us and got through. I got to tell you, yep, it is the truth. I did not hear one word my man Fandom D Saint BBM said tonight, but his facial expressions, just like on his reaction videos, were absolutely priceless. And I am totally looking forward to going back and rewatching this and seeing all the answers to the questions that I asked. And hopefully it shows up good. It sounds like everybody else could hear him. So as long as I'm the only one that couldn't hear it, we made it through. And I think we made it happen. So I definitely want to thank you for coming here tonight, and hopefully we'll be back on next Tuesday with no technical difficulties. Try to get that all sorted out and be back on track. BBM, what are you going to be doing for the rest of the week?
The rest of the week, I got to record I think, 2 videos. Thank God it's just 2 videos because Thursdays, I've been doing almost 3 to 4 videos recording, but good thing I just do the Legacies finale and 1 episode of Supernatural, which is finally going to end next season with this final season. Friday, it's going to be Citadel Trivia. I'll be hosting with Mary B and Sword of the Darkness. We're going to be doing Love 'em or Hate 'em characters of Game of Thrones. And Saturday, birthday, party hardy. Once again, thank you for having me, DJ. And talking to you, Andy.
Always glad to have my man BBM on. Thank you so much, Fandom D Saint, for being here. What other than healing, what are you going to be up to for the rest of the week, Andy?
Probably playing a bunch of Skyrim, but yeah, that's about it. Sitting here on the machine trying to heal my leg here. But I wanted to say congratulations to BBM for hitting 3,000. I think I seen on his Twitter.
Hey!
He hit that 3,000.
Nicely done,
Thank
good
you.
sir.
Thank you.
So yeah, that's what happens. You're putting in the work. Not like me putting out a video like every 6 months. But
Exactly.
I'm about to
I'm
say
surprised he's not
nobody is
doing
a
more
harder working
content.
man than my man in the biz. He is doing it. Video after video. We appreciate it. Always giving the people what they want. Mow and mow and mow. Love to see it. Keep them coming. And definitely the best in the game. I've told them before, and that is the God honest truth. I don't watch anybody's reaction, but if I'm going to watch a reaction, it's damn sure going to be BBM's because he is the best in the business. Out of the handful that I've seen, there's nobody that comes close. It's like that beautiful face was just made for making reactions. That's just what it is. Nobody does it better. So definitely get over there. If you're watching this later and you're one of our people from around the way, around the world, whatever, make sure you get over to Fandom D Saints channel. Check him out. I guarantee if you watch a show on TV, he has a review about it. So definitely get over there, check it out. And for everybody that came out and hung out with us all night, thank you so much. Definitely going to be back here next Tuesday, and a small possibility that we even get on once before that. I mean, we got Andy laid up in the bed. He can't go anywhere, so we might as well get him back on the TV.
yeah, I'll be here.
Right on. So for everybody that came through, thanks again so much. We're definitely going to see you soon. Have an absolutely fantastic rest of the week, and until we see you next time, game on.